Welcome back right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. The country is no stranger to destructive storms. Let's find out how businesses have prepared for these natural disasters with the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation's Bill Luz. Bill, great to have you with us. Every year, we're hit by more than 20 typhoons. The past week, Egay and Falcon, many lives and billions in property lost. Is the Philippines doing enough in terms of disaster resilience and preparedness?
I think given the state of climate change, it's never enough because it's always changing and actually always getting a little worse. So they're going to come maybe not so frequently, but when they hit us, you can see the extent of the damage they can cause, floods, a lot of high winds. So, a lot more rainfall than we're seeing. So we need to, even if we think we're as prepared as we can be, we need to prepare even more.
PDRF, Bill, has an emergency operations center in Clark, Pampanga. How has it helped in advancing warnings, especially for storms?
Okay, so the Emergency Operations Center is really built around the concept of preparedness and prevention. So we do a lot of forecasting and early warning for storms and, of course, for volcanic eruptions. And not yet, but hopefully we can do the same early warning for earthquakes. So for storms, we try to give as long a forecast as possible, maybe 8, 9, 10 days ahead of a storm. We give that to the business community so they can pre-position goods, get their staff prepared, and not only protect themselves, but they are prepared to react to and respond in communities all over the country.
Bill, you mentioned about businesses. Do all kinds of businesses, whether the micro, small, medium enterprises, of course, including the conglomerates, do they have access to all of your information?
Not all companies have access to the information because there are just far too many companies in the country. We concentrate on large ones and on mid-sized ones, but from the large ones are able to transmit to small and medium-scale enterprises as well. No, so we try to reach out down to micro, small, and medium-scale enterprise. And the degree of assistance is also different depending on the size of the company. The most important thing to do is help, for a small company, for instance, is help your own employees and help your operations, because the faster you can recover, the faster your community recovers. For large corporations, it's of course all about keeping their operations continuing, it's business continuity programs, plus the ability to respond in communities wherever, and whenever they're struck by disaster.
When you talk about the medium size and the large corporations, apart from gaining information from the PDRF, what trends and innovations have they implemented on their own for disaster resilience and preparedness?
Well, the first thing they've done, and they've done traditionally even before PDRF, is that they had business continuity programs. So that was just adjusted to account for natural disasters, and that's improved. They've also, a lot of these companies, especially the large ones, they've started hiring specialized staff. The safety officers have now, sort of widened scope of work in terms of their being tasked to take charge of preparations for natural disasters and of keeping company operations flowing, smoothly. They take care of employees, they take care of assets. So I think that's a big improvement. There are specialized professionals that are hired at very senior positions in the large companies these days, just precisely to deal with natural disasters.
Is there a difference, Bill, in terms of the disaster preparedness and the business continuity initiatives of local companies vis-a-vis multinational firms? And what can we learn from the global companies who have in place disaster preparedness programs?
Yeah, I think when it comes to natural disasters, they're pretty well the same. I think that companies overseas can learn a lot from the Philippines because we get a bigger share of natural disasters than they would in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, rather. So remember that from an exposure point of view, the Philippines, in terms of its exposure to natural disasters, to nature, uh, is number one in the world in terms of that level of risk. We're also number one in vulnerability because our preparedness programs are not yet as good as they should be. So we're trying to improve that. But I think companies can learn from what the Philippines does and what PDRF does and what other LGUs and private corporations what they do, because we're used to disasters and we're having to prepare for and react to
Right.
disasters all year round.
All right, we're used to these disasters. Calamities happen so many times during the year, but what more can we do? What more can we implement in terms of initiatives?
I think one of the things that's kind of overlooked is with all the preparedness, I think we need to look at disaster risk insurance a lot more. We need to protect ourselves, our assets, our people, the economy against this type of loss. And this is an insurable item. So there are types of specialized disaster risk insurance products available. And following the pandemic now, the private sector around the world, they've been developing something known as epidemic risk platform. And that epidemic risk platform, that's been communicated to our Department of Finance and National Treasury as potential, insurance products to protect the country. So I think that's kind of the next step forward. Another thing would be engineering solutions, strengthen our infrastructure, strengthen our buildings. Particularly, look at all these floods. I mean, we need to find out what's the real root cause of all the flooding.
Thank you so much for this private sector disaster preparedness exchange, Bill Luz of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation. And before we go, here are words of wisdom from Mami Muzotori from the UN Office for Disaster Preparedness. Disaster risk reduction requires an all of society engagement. Through our collective efforts, we will achieve greater impact. And this is the exchange. We make sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle, because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust.